Previously on Cath being proven as a fraud, Bond just puts the fear of God into him. Cath continuously tries to use magic attacks on a guy that can rebound them at 2 times his strength, and, well, everything he does is just not working whatsoever. And that basically leads us into now. As Four Knights of the Apocalypse chapter 226 is officially out, and this was another really good chapter, and could be the sign of either another way for Cath to be utterly humiliated, or the beginning signs that the tides might begin to turn against the sins. We'll get into that in just a second. But overall, this arc has been a lot of fun, and it really feels like Nakaba is just kind of making up for the actual final arc, the Chaos arc in Seven Deadly Sins, being kind of mediocre, all over the place, super fast-paced, and basically throwing everything at the wall to set up Four Knights of the Apocalypse and this whole conflict. Seeing this full fight between Cath and just Bond and Meliodas is honestly a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm curious to see how things are going to end. I know I say this every week, but again, this has just been a really fun time to be a Four Knights Seven Deadly Sins fan especially, and I just can't wait to jump into things. So please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel and hype up the video to boost it up in the algorithm to help more people see it. It shows you guys enjoy what I make here on the channel, and shows you want to see more, and could potentially get people who are Seven Deadly Sins fans but for some reason have no idea Four Knights exists, to get them to know Four Knights exists, to help this pop up on their feed. Also, if you want to see more of me outside this channel, I have a second channel called GW Comics where I talk about American comic books. It's over 1,000 subscribers. We broke that 1 milestone. Next up is 5K, hopefully by the end of the year. I've got plans for that as well. It's a passion project on the side that I'm doing, so I really appreciate it if you guys go and check it out. Link to that will be in the description down below and in the title card. Now then, on to the actual chapter that you guys are here for. Chapter 226 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, titled Cath in Despair. That is putting it mildly, as the cover image is just of Cath getting up from being knocked down into the ground last chapter by Bond, and I like the attention to detail that Bond just literally punched holes in each of Cath's just giant monster arms, as Cath is now just hoisting himself back up after probably getting the worst concussion of his life. But the real beginning of the chapter is in the rubble of Leonis, where Ironside wakes up to his son Theodora, meeting him right for the first time in a little while, as now it is confirmed that he is back to his senses alongside the rest of the Four Perils. Obviously, Ironside is telling Theodora to get away from him, and we hear from Pelgard saying that the Chaos had taken over them completely, and other knights in the area saying if they should just tie them up for safety, and Pelio going up to Pelgard, with Pelgard telling them to stay back because they're in danger. They're still ruled over by Chaos, as we see Worldane and Beltrup still unconscious after having the Chaos ripped from them. But Balin basically says, I doubt you guys have any of that stuff left in your system, as Balin looks up at Cath, staring down at the Sins in the distance, as they are still generally in the area, with Balin saying that given the power gap between just 2 of the Sins and Cath needs every single drop of Chaos energy in order to stand a chance against the Sins. So this does confirm that Cath, from the previous chapter, did take all of the Chaos that he infused into the Four Perils back to himself with the staff that he created. I also love how Balin, just like the Seven Deadly Sins, are truly to be feared. And that is honestly really damn cool. But I do want to say this. This seemingly is setting up for the Four Perils to basically no longer be threats at this point in the story. Since the Chaos has been fully taken out of them at this point, and Cath is using it, depending how this fight goes, the Four Perils might be switching over to the good guy side and help in terms of rebuilding Camelot with the real King Arthur once that sets up. But again, it depends on how things go. Unfortunately, this would end up meaning that the Chaos Perils are basically not going to be seen in the story again unless Cath reinfects them for some way, shape, or form in some way in the series. And that does kind of suck, because we did only see them be genuine threats against the members of the Four Knights before Lancelot showed up, and they only showed up against Bond, and Bond basically one-shot all of them, and then the other 3 Sins were holding off all 4 of them by themselves. King holding off 2 at the exact same time. So, while the Four Perils in their Chaos forms are super cool, heck, I even had special artwork made for the Chaos Perils, specifically for all this stuff going on right now in hopes that they would continue to show up in the story because the design is just so damn cool. So they're going to be on screen most likely. It's a shame. I'll probably keep popping them out for like ideas for like chaosification or whatever for like visual reference. It is a shame because these are super strong characters with high level magical abilities with chaos amping them up. But if they are no longer under the influence of Cath, they're not going to be villains and antagonists anymore, which is a shame. I would have really loved the Four Knights to fight them all again with proper matchups, because I really don't think that Lancelot would have pointed out all the characters fighting them the wrong order and wrong opponents, and what the proper matchups would be like back in like chapter 205, without the potential of a rematch happening, because things feel too important for these characters to be rematched. But then again, who knows what'll happen? Cath might retreat and take the Four Perils once again and maybe make them stronger for all we know. I got no clue. It sucks that the Four Perils Chaos forms might not be brought up again in the story unless something happens, but at the same time, it also kind of makes sense for them right now to not be under the Cath's thrall, especially now that they know the truth. So, I'm curious to see where this plot thread goes. But we then cut back to Bond and Meliodas double-teaming Cath, as, yeah, they're just staring him down as if nothing is going on. Cath tries to strike at Meliodas again with his staff, but it's a fake out, as Cath grabs him with one of his other arms, as Cath is now starting to be kind of smart, saying, "Ha, now that I have you bound, full counter's not an option anymore." As Cath then unleashes a new attack, Festival of Holy and Evil, launching a bunch of light and darkness-based attacks onto Meliodas all at once, clashing against him in Cath's fist. And Meliodas is getting damage from it. Which, honestly, smart. Meliodas can't full counter if his hands are bound, and he can't use a weapon to rebound everything. Very good. But Meliodas does manage to break free and slice up Cath's hand, but Cath immediately regenerates and uses his Chaos Arm from the right to tangle up Meliodas again, to hit him with another Festival of Holy and Evil, as again, this is damaging him to a degree. Meliodas is asking where the real Arthur is in this chaos, because he wants to know where his friend is since Cath replaced him. But Cath, not really, thinking about what he says, just ends up saying, "Hey, don't ask me where the guy is. That damn sorceress ended up taking him away to somewhere that even I can't find." As Meliodas, after hearing this, breaks free by using a giant burst of darkness to break free from Cath's hold and go back to the ground, as this does catch Bond and the rest of the Sin's attention, as Meliodas physically damaged, but Cath notices that Meliodas is kind of out of breath, as he's going full demon and launching all those attacks must have taken a toll on him. So this does confirm that Meliodas with the demon mark is all out, because assault mode is something that people do want to keep pointing out to potentially happen. But we've only ever really seen assault mode Meliodas in rare occurrences, mainly when he's like fully encased in his rage. Even in the fight against the Demon King, he never really went full assault mode. And it's very possible that Demon Mark Meliodas at this point in how he's fighting is his full demon power. He's just not transforming. And that could be how in his training arc with Tristan, in terms of putting his darkness in specific areas of his body, is containing his magic of darkness to just be used in Demon Mark form by itself, and he doesn't need assault mode anymore. That is possible. I could be thinking too much into this. Maybe I'll make a separate video going over why I think we'll never get assault mode again. But for all we know, this could just be foreshadowing to Meliodas going full-on rage mode, and then we get assault mode with Meliodas just giving in to his anger and no longer just giving a damn about anyone else in the area. But then Cath gives a bit more exposition and lore to Chaos, saying that Chaos itself does lie within every living source in every clan. It's what gives him the power to control the power of light that is Meliodas' greatest weakness. He's going Pokemon typings with this, so okay. And he's also saying that once he takes down Meliodas the leader, the 7 deadly sins are done for. You would think so. But then Bond just walks in front of Meliodas saying, "Hey, let me tag in for a bit, Meliodas. You gotta conserve your stamina for the party that we're gonna do after we kick this guy's ass." As Meliodas powers down and tells Bond, "Alright, fine, I'll switch out for about 5 minutes." As Bond just laughs at this, as now he's gonna have a crack at Cath, by himself with no other help from Meliodas, as we saw in the previous chapter. Which, you know what? So much fun, especially considering the end of the last chapter was just Cath getting the fear of God placed in him by Bon, and just immediately forgetting that feeling when Bon just knocked him into the ground, giving him the worst concussion of his damn life. And Cath's arrogance continues to just overflow as he calls Bon the leftovers. And look, let's just say, me saying previously, and how things have gone up till this point, that Bon is most likely the strongest at this point, might not be an exaggeration in my bias at this point, as we are going to see what's going to happen with Bon 1v1ing Cath without Meliodas' help in this instance. So, the fight continues as Cath unleashes a being called the Gift of Woeful Poison to engulf Bon, which we can only assume has poison in it. Probably to the touch, maybe poison mist, whatever. It starts to circle around Bon with its tendrils and tentacles. That sounded weird, but Bon just casually just flicks it away with his right hand. And you see how insignificant this is by just Bon in one small panel just flicking it away like it's nothing. But Cath then surprise starts to use another magic attack, saying, "If you yearn for death that much, let me grant it to you." As he unleashes Bolt of Divinity, a chaos-infused power of lightning spell, right onto Bon point blank, and follows up with Festival of Holy and Evil, with Gother and the rest of the sins just being nearly blown back by the sheer force and magnitude being unleashed by Cath right now on top of Bon. And to end this magic-spamming combo, Cath breathes Ruining Inferno onto Bon, as we see from these little panels that the buildings in the area are getting burned away to just complete and total ash. With Cath cackling, saying, "Did that do the trick?" But in a double-page spread, all of a sudden, there's a hole through Cath's chest with Bon behind him, as we get another panel in this two-page spread showing Bon on the opposite side with a serious look on his face as he casually kicked through Cath's torso as he lands on the ground with Cath spitting up blood. As now, this, again, Meliodas had to try a bit more in this fight, obviously, with everything that was going on with Cath, but Bon is just casually putting holes where holes should not be. I feel like someone's going to edit that and make it weird out of context, but I'm keeping this in there because it fits the scene and it's a lot funnier. But Cath, obviously, in his face, actually kind of in absolute pain, is wondering that this can't be. Withstanding each of his attacks, cutting through his flesh, he's like just a complete monster at this point. How is a human able to go through all this and survive without a single scratch on him? Now, to avid readers of Seven Deadly Sins and Four Nights of the Apocalypse, we all know why Bon's body is this tough. I don't have to explain it, but the man survived purgatory. It's got poisonous mists, eroding temperatures, so much heat, multitudes of flames, lightning all over the place. It is the harshest environment in existence. And thanks to Bon's immortality at the time, he was able to keep reviving everything for millennia. So his body just adapted to all these different types of environments to the point where he's practically invincible to something that isn't at least physically on his level. Brute force attacks can do something, like in this fight against the Demon King, to actually deal him damage. But Cath just unleashing these magical attacks that are basically just elemental, that Bon himself has grown to basically being practically super resistant to, and nearly immune to, shows that he is a terrible matchup to Bon at this point. Now that he's using all these fights, and now using the reality warping shit that he was doing when he first acquired Chaos, letting it run out of control, which is why the Sins were having so much trouble in the final arc of the story. That's what I believe is the case. But now that Cath has full control over what amount of chaos he has, and is using actual attacks in fighting to a degree in terms of some sort of strategy and thought to what he's doing, everything he's doing is just bouncing off of Bon because he's just practically immune to everything that he could do in terms of magic, which is insane. But then King has to open up his big mouth to explain everything because he's just so damn proud of his best friend, near best friend and brother-in-law. As he says, it's fair to say that right this instant, he's the strongest presence in this world. More so than me, and likely the captain too. Based off of what we've seen in the fight with Cath and King's own, basically talking right now, and Meliodas just not interrupting at all, it's very likely that this basically confirms that Bond is the strongest sin. Again, you could argue with Meliodas' assault mode potentially at this point, but we don't know if that's ever coming back. Either way, let's just say this right now, confirmed by other sins, and just based off of how he's handling Cath right now, Bond's the strongest. But Cath kind of begins to kind of go over his head what the hell is going on. More of your dumb delusions. If it's that I got things to protect drivel that you're on about again, isn't it? But King keeps talking, saying, it's the same for all of us. Look, the only difference is in how much time he and I have left. That's likely a few more decades for him. He might have survived purgatory, but no man can defeat his own nature. Which, yeah, Cath clocks, as King continues to talk, saying, it's likely that limited time which allows him to reach places that those of us with near eternal life cannot. The special gift granted to the humans, you see. King, you gotta shut the f*** up half the time. My god, you don't give a guy with the powers of a god and reality the knowledge that you just gave him with this monologue glazing Bond, and to an extent humans, for reaching heights that near eternal beings can't because of their limited lifespans. And now Bond has a limited lifespan, which is a few more decades according to King. Why is this stupid for him to say in front of the near demigod type guy? Well, Cath begins to cackle, basically does a hand sign, raises his staff, and uses bubbling of years. And something is noticed by all the sins, as they all have this very weird feeling. As King notices, Cath is fastening time, literally bringing the flow of time forward by a number of years. And Cath just says, here I thought you were a threat from another dimension or something. I let myself completely forget about it. As we see Bond's knees hit the ground, with Meliodas in shock and blood splattering on the ground. As in the last page of the chapter, Cath says, I forgot that you were human, you see. As the final page of the chapter is an aged up Bond with blood coming out of his mouth and on his hands from coughing up blood, with Meliodas running towards Bond. And that's where the chapter ends. So, it's fair to agree, King, you over Bond at this point. And this feels like a way for Nakba to give an excuse for why Bond's not just going to solo Cath. Because Cath used an ability to quicken the flow of time in a limited area. Since the Sins felt it, Bond had aged up multiple decades. He's got a full-grown beard like he had in Purgatory and at the beginning of Seven Deadly Sins to a degree. Now, visibly outside the beard, he doesn't seem like a literal old man, but even if his outer body is pretty toned, even if he's aged up, the insides of his body ain't gonna hold up. So Bond could still be relatively powerful, but like King said, Bond can't fight aging, now that the Fountain of Youth powers of immortality are gone. So, all Cath has to do is fast forward Bond either to the point of death, or towards his final years of death to the point where he could potentially be taken up by brute force, or a waiting game, something that could just kill him on the spot. Now, I don't think it's going to be that simple. It would be hilarious if Bond's just like Cath fast forwards Bond to like 120. He's the decrepit old man, but still has the strength to slap him around like it's nothing, because that'd be hilarious. But I'm curious to see where this leads, because this is a good cliffhanger and a good way for Cath to find a way to win. Obviously, Gother, Meliodas, King in the end would not really be affected because they could live for like millennia on their own without having much physical age to a degree. But Bond's different. Heck, this could literally be the big divergence from the future vision that Guinevere had. At this point, it's basically confirmed that we are not seeing the future that Guinevere envisioned, but it could be something drastically different due to how things have been slightly altered in this section of the story. And I want to see what's going to happen next. Will Bond just be a decrepit old man and to be slapped around by Cath with him not being able to do anything, and Meliodas being relatively out of breath, hasn't recovered from all those blasts yet, won't be able to fully defend Bond anymore, leaving the rest of the Sins to have to dogpile on Cath, but now he will find a way to actually deal with the Sins on his own now? Who knows? this is a creative way to deal with the strongest Saiyan at this point, since he is just a human with the literal physical strength and resistance of deities that stand up to deities at this point. But you can't fight aging at this point, so that is a smart way to deal with things. King has to shut the f*** up. That's all I gotta say. He's Dragon Ball Z abridged Krillin levels of just spouting shit out for no reason. But yeah, I like this chapter. It was fun seeing Bon just like casually beat Cath's ass, but having Cath figure out that, oh right, he's human. Completely forgot after all the shit he's done. I'll fast forward time just to basically age him to death or near death to make it easier on myself, and then I can take care of the rest of the Saiyans at this point. I'm curious to see where this is going to lead. This could lead to the doorstep of Bon dying, or maybe he'll just be stuck as an old man that's practically powerless. Who knows? But you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell and hype up the video, boosting in the algorithm so more people can see it. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy what I make here on the channel. It shows you want to see more. Also, I'm sure you've noticed all the artwork that's been like done here and there in the videos during my discussion sections and stuff like that to help with visual aids. Let me know what you think about those. I've been waiting a couple of months on these to be complete. I'm planning on getting more for other characters and other poses and stuff like that for these artworks, because I wanted to make my videos feel a bit more, different and a bit more unique. So let me know what you guys think of them, because those took a lot of work from the artist that I managed to commission for these. And over time, I might do these types of character artworks for other series I'm reviewing as well. No guarantees. Right now, it's just 4 Knights focused at this moment in time. But let me know what you guys think of them. And with all that said and done, hope you all have an awesome day.